Hi there, folks. Welcome to the latest episode of the 10-Minute Moan Live. And this one is about Starmer and Macron. They're meeting today, which is just going to be a shambles, and there's not going to be any benefit to us whatsoever. So before the mainstream media take all the Fed lies, take all the Fed lines, and stick it out for us all to meant to believe, I'll give you a sort of analysis of what's really going to happen. And it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. The figures just make no sense. We heard from Labour a year ago, just after they took power in Westminster, telling us that they were going to smash the gangs. I'm going to show you why that's a lot of nonsense as well. Smash the gangs is equated to, I think, one person getting to jail, and that was the guy that sold them spare boat parts. I ain't going to stop the influx of people. So I'm making this live from a wee island off the coast of Dubrovnik. I'm going to Dubrovnik for the day, so I'm going to catch a ferry in about an hour. So I thought I'd just stick this out early and maybe do a catch up once I come back to see the nonsense that they've told us that it's going to be fantastic, which is going to be far from it. So one of the best places I found was the Sky. They've got quite a good coverage on it, and the stats that they show are a bit of an eye-opener. So there, an hour ago they posted this. Just going to refresh this actually, just see if there's any updates since just before I was live. I checked this about 10 minutes ago. So headline is all over the place. PM and Macron expected to announce a one-in, one-out deal to stop small boats. Well, it won't stop them if it's one in, one out. The boats will still be arriving, so that's a lot of nonsense. And the figures that they actually suggest, even the ones that will be going out, they're minuscule, absolutely minuscule. So here's some of the figures, right? So this part here, you can see UK and France expected to announce a trial of the one, and if you look at the third paragraph, the deal could see roughly 800 migrants returned to France by Christmas. But over 21,000 have already arrived this year alone. And that's just the small boats. Now, as I keep saying, we're actually getting told to look over to the right, while over on the left, we've still got people arriving with boats in the night time, because these are the numbers that they're quoting. I've seen it from my own eyes. I went over, stood above on a cliff with the people there that were spotting it and counting it. They counted the number that came from the border force boat that collects them. And guess what? 2 days later, it takes about 48 hours for the government to put out their figures, and it's the same figures. So the government figures are purely small boat arrivals that we catch in the ocean. And if I look to my right when I'm standing up the cliff in Dover, I can see miles of beaches. There's still some arriving there, although not as many as previously, to be fair, and they tend to come over in the cover of darkness. And I look to my left, and there's a ferry terminal with boats in every hour. Boats will be full of people who do have passports, but they'll just know. Some of them go home, forget to go home after their holiday. And also, the trucks, remember, about 4 or 5 years ago, pre-COVID, it was always about the stowaways. We'll never hear about them anymore, but they still happen, right? They still happen. So these figures, we could see roughly 800 migrants return to France. Oh, sorry, that camera got shifted. Returning to France by Christmas. And what? That'll make no difference whatsoever to what's happening in their country. So that was the first thing. It's just a lot of nonsense, right? And it will be scaled up if the initial pilot works as expected. So the net figure will still be the same. We'll still have too many people here. Anyway, the details of the scheme are yet to be finalised, but it's likely to be a key topic discussions during the Anglo-French summit in Downing Street this morning. Right, where was there was a cracking stat here. There they are, having a wee cuddle on the steps of Downing Street. Now there was comments here by, I'm sure it was a minister. Defence Secretary, here we go, that's nonsense. They've told us here in the third paragraph, the government has deported 30,000 people in the last year and reduced the number of people in asylum hotels. That's technically true, but the figures you'll see later on show you that's because they came up last year. You know, after the Tories get flung out, because they were hopeless at immigration, it went up last year. It's came down a bit, but it's still higher than it was when these clowns took over. So we've still seen more people just now coming. Sorry, and then we've got it's asylum hotels. We'll still get more in asylum hotels. It was about 20,000 when the Tories lost power. It went up to 24,000. 28,000, I beg your pardon, under Labour, and it's come back down to about 21, 22,000. The exact figures are on later on here. So the asylum hotels are not getting better. They're actually worse, although they have come down year on year, but they're still worse than they were under the Tory government, and they were shocking at it. So that's a bit of a nonsense. And there we go. More than 21,000 people have crossed the channel so far this year. Then you'll see these figures below don't show 21,000. They only show the first 6 months of the year. So we're at 20,000 now. We were 13,000. That was 2024. Now, bear in mind the election was early July, and this is only the first 6 months figures. So that was under Tories. We were 13,500, give or take a couple. We're now at 20,000, give or take a couple. First 6 months. So that's a good direct comparison, because that figure will just be before the Tories lost power. And Starmer told us, we're going to smash the boats. Now, to justify that, what they're saying is, we've had better weather. Right, I don't know if that's true or not, because you need it to be really calm, and you need decent visibility. Or what is already an unsafe way to get across the channel becomes a really unsafe way to cross the channel. But however, you see the figures here. The blue line is low says here viability. They're still up. So even when the weather's shit, there's more people coming in boats. And they're saying that we have less time. Mental, isn't it? There was another figure, right? They claimed, it's this thing, it was a belting figure. There's asylum figures that I was telling you about, right? They're saying that they've dropped, right? Because on last year's figure, with December, at the end of the year there, we had 38,000. And we're now down to 32,000 by March 2025. But it's went up. And the Tories had us, it was 29,585. We're now at 32,000. So smash the boats. It gave us 3,000 people more in these hotels. However, they're telling us, we've reduced it. Well, yeah, because when the 38,000, it went up when you first took charge. So it's only improved your terrible figure. It's not actually improved the Tory figures. And there was another thing, I'll try and find it. Figure. Absolute bonkers. They throw figures about. And they just make no sense at all. Where is it? It was a belter. Let me find it. There's something to do with the... Yeah. They claim that the number of boats, they're going to stop all these thousands of boats. Like, well, no, you're not, because to get to the number, it was the Secretary, Defence Home Secretary, he claimed that the number we're going to bring it down was massive. And you think, well, that's impossible, because you need to stop all the boats. And you're not stopping the boats at all. What you're going to do is just return some people. So what they're basically saying is, the people that they turn back for the boats, the people in France, asylum seekers in France currently, who have got a family connection, so they might have an uncle here, right? We'll take them if you take the ones back. The numbers will be no benefit whatsoever to us. Right, here we go. This bit here. Sir Keir Starmer and Macron are expected to announce a trial of one in, one out that could see up to 50 small boat arrivals return to France each week. But that's impossible, because that's 200 a month. And you're saying you might get 800 people returned. There's 50 to 60 people in these boats, because I've seen them. And when I was shocked because the first boat I seen arrive that had been picked out of the water, there was 50 or 60 folk came off it. And I thought that must be like one or two dinghies they've picked up out the channel. It wasn't. That was one. So there's 50 to 60. So what they're saying is we'll get 200 a month. But in another thing, you're saying you'll get 800 migrants less per month for the end of this year. The figures are just total bollocks, made up, absolute nonsense. And it's just total farcical. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. I'm just going to have a wee look here in the comments. There you go. Kenny's picked up as well. Lorry roads, and they fly in as well. Yeah, you're right. If you've got a passport, you can come here. And when you come here, you just decide you're not going home. Then you're here, aren't you? Yep, that's right. See, there's boats that we don't get picked up. And let me see. I hate this saying, irregular immigrants. They're illegal. There's nothing irregular about it. And they are quite regular. They come every day. And here's the thing that James is saying as well. Just leave the EU and ECHR. Scrap the fishing deals, not. These people going, we need to change the laws. We don't need to change the laws. The laws that we've got, just, we control our border. We don't need to change laws to get this job fixed. Just having a wee squint through just to see if anybody's got any questions. There you go, Stuart. Bad weather somewhat deters them, but they still try. Yeah, and there's actually more coming in the bad weather than there was previously in the bad weather. So it's not really, they're not really that bothered. They're actually more of them coming in the bad weather. There you go. ICC. There's 2,000 came in boats just one day alone. Yeah, I think it was about 900 the day I was down in Dover. It's bonkers. And that's not everybody. I keep saying to folk, I want us to look over to the left when there's all this nonsense going over at the right. It's just the figures are mental. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. I'm going to go and catch my ferry now and go to Dubrovnik. I was in it Tuesday, just passing through to get here, pick up a ferry. And I'm going today during the day, and then I'm going over in a wee fancy boat on Friday round to the old town, see the sunset in Dubrovnik, have some dinner, and then come back to this lovely wee island. I'm not a travel vlogger at all, but this place is stunning. So I think I've got some footage. I'll maybe do a wee video about this place, because it's just like, I've never been to Croatia. I was never even in Yugoslavia when it was a former Yugoslavia. But this place is stunning, and I'm looking forward to my trip today. I'm off on a boat. I'm going to try and sneak into Croatia. See if they give me a house and a job as a Uber. I wonder if they've Uber Eats here. I'll maybe do a wee update tonight, depending on what time I get back. But lovely here. I will do a video about this place. It deserves it. Everybody here, have a great day. Cheery bye now.